Okay, so welcome for today's flight. That should take us from Norfolk International to Pitt-Greenville. The flight is just above 100 miles long, and even though the weather is virtually perfect, we've decided to do the IFR flight instead to break the monotony a little bit, and so we can learn something new today. As each time, feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions during the briefing, or alternatively just mark them down and ask me in the end. It's really up to you. Right, first of all, let's check the weather to confirm that it's still good enough. I will check the weather for 20 Zulu, which is in half an hour, and even though it's not that important for IFR flight, you can see that there are virtually no clouds. Clouds are important for the icing planning only. So let's check the icing, but of course, if there is no visible moisture, I don't expect to have any icing whatsoever, and everything is good. As far as winds go, again, it's gonna be some kind of against the wind, but compared to last week, it's not gonna be 45 knots. It's gonna be only 20 knots. If someone's flying lower at 3000, it's just 10 knot wind. So as far as weather goes, we cannot really wish for anything clearer than that. I will quickly check if we have any controllers at this point or at this time, because that might affect the briefing itself. And we don't have anyone. Let's see, Jacksonville, we are not down yet. We'll be ending someplace there, I believe. And we have people there already. Okay. So that was weather. At Norfolk, the winds are coming from 160 magnetic. So the runway will be 14 that we're gonna use. And currently winds at Pitt-Greenville are from 260 magnetic. And we'll come to the runway later. I checked, and in past hours, the winds are blowing roughly from the same direction. There is no reason to expect anything else, but of course, when in the air and coming to the airport, it's always good to check the weather. Let's start from the end, actually. Well, this is kind of a real brief. So if we know the direction, we know that we'll be coming in from the north to this field and so on. But as is most often the case, at least I start the real planning from the arrival, because I want to know my options and I want to know, where to plan, the arrival. You can always, for example, clear yourself just maybe to this VOR and then expect to get vectors or something like that. Or you can clear yourself for the VOR that would be more south. But there is no harm done in clearing yourself here. One downside to this is that you might get a different approach. Something might be changed, and in that case, you would need to think on the fly, so to speak. If an airport has some common initial approach fix that is common to multiple approaches, it's very good to ask for an IFR clearance up to that common point. So you can start any approach you wish from there. But as is the case in our current destination, there is really no common initial approach fix, so that goes out of the window. I will come back to this routing. Let's do the arrival first. I picked one of the arrivals available, and let's just quickly check what arrivals we have. We have two ILS arrivals to the same runway, Yankee and Zulu, and then we have RNAV arrivals for each runway. Since the winds are coming from currently coming from well, this changed again, so now it's 240 magnetic. That would mean that would indeed be runway 20 or 26. But with 5 knot winds, it's perfectly fine to do runway 20. Again, it's valid that if there is any traffic in the pattern already doing circuits or anything in this perfect weather, we should be like maybe discontinuing the ILS approach if we can and land visually, like transitioning to VFR, kind of VFR flying, and just insert ourselves in the pattern in a recommended way. So we have the least risk of kind of mid-air collision. If there is nobody doing patterns, feel free to do ILS landings or RNAV landings or whatever you choose. We'll check the situation when we are in the air. I picked ILS approach. So let's get the plate for it, and I picked there are two, Yankee and Zulu. And for those of you, there was this plate discussed very much, and the feasibility of using, for example, Zaggy as kind of fix that we would start an approach from. But for various reasons, it's very impractical approach. The most obvious problem is that the MEA on that leg is 1,600 feet. So you would think that maybe it's good enough to fly here to the NDB, which is initial approach fix, and just continue the approach. The problem is that the glide slope capture that should happen at that NDB has an altitude of 1,400. So normally, if you're flying this approach in the cloud and whatnot, you cannot descend to 1,400 before reaching that NDB. So what you would need to do is somehow go like turn around, basically fly north, do the procedure turn, reversal of the course, and just come back. So we kind of, or I kind of disqualified this approach as being too weird, I would say. And you cannot use like a cannier here. There is no holding like racetrack pattern here. So it's not a point where you can like easily join the approach, I would say, if not under ATC. So I will just close this and instead key approach. It's very similar. The difference is you cannot use Zaggy, but you can use Kenner as initial approach fix. And there is also this racetrack pattern, so holding pattern, so you can easily join that and do that. Now it says here GPS or radar required. Radar means that you are under ATC control, so you need to be able to speak to them, which in IFR conditions you will need to have a radio, so it's kind of given. The GPS requirement here is mainly, I believe, for the purpose of these terminal area or terminal approach areas. These are like these half circles that are here, and those half circles depict that like minimum safe altitude in that segment. So if you are 30 nautical miles from Kenya and you are in this portion, from radials or from courses, I would say inbound courses 107 all the way to 287 in the north, you can descend to 2,100 in this arc within 30 nautical miles, and you will not hit any ground obstacle. And you do not do any procedure turn when arriving at Canary. Of course, you need to have a GPS or be radar vectored to be able to fly to Canary. Arriving from the south, it's split, so you have 2,100 feet within 15 nautical miles and 3,100 within 30 nautical miles. If you are not GPS equipped, I believe practically it's perfectly possible to fly this approach because Canary is one of the fixes on Victor 290. So that's what I will be doing and maybe simulating, that I have ATC, of course. So what does it tell us to us? When we join this, and if we are coming on the Victor airway, we need to do the procedure turn. This one really calls for direct entry, so we just do a direct entry into here and fly this, and we can continue. If we are being vectored or we do some direct and we happen to come from this area, we can do like straight in approach, so we don't do this procedure turn, and we can continue. This NDB is the final approach fix, and vertical profile is quite easy. Within the holding pattern, the minimum altitude is 2,100. Then when you cross Canary inbound, you can descend to 1,400. Notice that it's only 700 feet difference, and you have 10 nautical miles for this. So there's no reason why you need to be at 2,100 at this point. You can be higher depending on your descent calculations. You just make sure that you are at 1,400 before reaching the final approach fix of this NDB. All wood. From the final approach fix. Yeah.
More to the point, you'll intercept the glide slope by that time. So you will be at 1,400 crossing the NDB.
Yes, exactly. That's let me stress that one more time. You need to be at 1,400 before reaching that NDB. I would recommend at least like maybe 2 nautical miles before that. All right, then you descend. This V here, this is like a visual, how is it called exactly? A visual descent point, I believe. And this it? Yeah, okay, it's also localizer. And it's basically applied to localizer only. So if you're flying localizer and not ILS, you can descend like from here. When you are at a 2.2 distance, you can descend only if you see the runway. If you reach the decision height, and I'm speaking about ILS here of 257 feet, and you don't see the runway, it would probably not happen today, you execute the missed approach procedure, and which is to climb to 800 and then climbing right turn to 1,600, direct this
So
Alwood.
is that the height or the altitude?
Once again,
Is that the decision height or the decision altitude? 250.
257 is decision altitude. Sorry, decision height is
Okay.
300. Sorry.
231.
231. Yes. 231
Okay,
is
I'm just
decision height.
setting it now.
Yep. And difference between altitude and height being altitude is the what your altimeter shows. So mean sea level altitude. Decision height is the height above ground. That's the difference. And you fly here, enter this holding pattern, and hold here. That's missed approach procedure. Question here: why does it say ADF required here at top?
Oh, it's an NDB in the procedure, right?
Yeah, if you have GPS. Do you need that? Yeah,
Maybe
I
if
would
your
say
GPS fails, they want you to have the NDB as a backup.
yeah, everything can fail. Yeah, but I believe that it's mostly there because of the missed approach procedure. Because if you are on the glide slope here, or you are like tracking the localizer, so to speak, you can easily identify this point by a 5DME on the localizer.
It's going
However,
to be pretty hard to fly the mist if you can't tell where you're going.
exactly. So that's basically because of the missed procedure. If you have that, and you should have that ADF tuned in, already before commencing the approach, then homing on the ADF on the NDB beacon is quite easy. It's much easier than intercepting the VOR radio. To see where that is. So for that purpose, you need to have that ADF on board. Any questions regarding the approach? Okay, if not, let's take the departure. Let's take the departure. Norfolk has a Kisser 3 departure. It's nothing. Hard or nothing difficult to do. What does it say is for each runway it says climb heading, so you need to climb a certain heading, and then expect radar vectors to assign departure route fix, and then maintain 4,000 feet. So what it tells you is that upon departure you maintain runway heading and you should climb to 4,000 feet. And the sole purpose of this is so the clearance controller doesn't need to repeat those two pieces of information to every single aircraft that wants to depart. So they just tell you, you are cleared via Kisser 3 departure. And then they don't need to tell you that you need to maintain, runway heading and so on. So since we are departing runway 14, that means that we should climb runway heading 137, or it is a runway heading, but we should climb heading 137 even if it wasn't runway heading. And we should climb to 4,000 feet initially. So what I will do personally, if there is no controller, I will just climb straight ahead, and maybe at 2,000 feet I will decide that I can turn on course, and I will turn and join the radio that I want to join. Radio calls. These are the radio calls that you would expect if we have ATC control. I don't see anyone really new in this call. So if you have any questions regarding the calls, and they were included in this file already when I posted it several hours ago, be sure to ask me. Otherwise, I will continue to en route portion or route planning, let's say. And since if we don't have any controller, then we will do standard VFR calls that we are taxiing, departing, and so on and so forth. Now for the route planning. There was already some discussion what to do, and I will probably go and do it here so I can zoom in. Major possibilities to get to this area, and that's either Victor 139 or Victor 1. Victor 1 goes through Cofield VOR, and Victor 139 goes from Norfolk VOR all the way here to the south. Me personally, I will fly this one, but you can fly whichever you want. And now, how to get there? So I've listed one possible thing how to get from the one airway to the other. You can go only to Piers, then you can have a direct to Wemox, considering if you are like a Jeep, like a slant G aircraft, so you have GPS on board. If you don't, it would be kind of difficult. If you don't, then it's perfectly possible to just fly here, continue on Victor 139, that goes there, still Victor 139. And when you cross or when you approach this, you just make a right turn and continue here. It's perfectly possible to do. It just requires some coordination because obviously you change the direction just here and then you should come here. On the other hand, consider that you have certain tolerance. So you should stay like within, I believe it's 4 nautical miles of the airway normally. So nothing really prevents you from continuing straight on, and just ignore this little turn because it's just, what is it, 1-2 nautical miles, not more. And you can just turn here and intercept the radial of this Tar River VOR. If you're flying on Victor 1, same procedure. You tune in this VOR, and when the needle starts to move, you know that it's soon time to turn, and you just transition here. And when you are at Kenir, you are already at the initial approach fix. Now the altitudes. Notice that it needs some planning because since there is no fix presented here, it doesn't tell you when you can start climbing or descending or whatnot. So consider that you are flying on this route, and for that route, the minimum en route altitude is 5,000 feet, so you have the reception of those VORs. If you are like G certified, then it's 2,000, and for just obstacle clearance, it's 1,500. So you can arrive at Kenir, and let's say that you arrive there at 5,000 feet, and that means that you will need to descend in the hold in there if you are not GPS equipped. If you are GPS equipped, you could order yourself to go direct to Kenir, and there's already that terminal area, terminal approach area, like terrain, like minimum safe altitude, so you can descend to 2,100 easily. You can kind of imitate that even if you are not GPS equipped, because you know that it's 30 nautical miles from here, from Kenir. But again, you might lose reception, not in the simulator, but in real life, definitely. So what I will do is I will fly this Victor 139, and when I pick up the this radial 114 radial from Tar River, I will make a turn on it, continue to Kenir at 5,000 feet minimum, and I will start descending once making that hold in lieu of procedure turn to join the approach. Any questions regarding the route?
Yeah, maybe one question. I have not different route, but there's along Victor 1, there is a fix called Brosy, Bravo, Romeo, Oscar, Zulu, Echo. It's not on the low en route chart, but it's in the nav data. And I was wondering, I'll just post a screenshot in the channel.
I don't see it. Roughly where is it?
It's northeast of Kenya. But I posted a screenshot in the group chat, in the group flight chat.
Browsy. Well, I don't have it here, so I cannot really plan. So it should be somewhere there.
Yeah. It's not technically a part of Victor 1, but it's on Victor 1.
So could it be some fix in some instrument approach, maybe to Williamston?
Possibly, yes. I haven't checked. I just noticed that it isn't on the low altitude chart.
Okay, well, yeah, it's not there, and in that case, it's not part of the route. But You know, I'm not really sure if you can use it. Probably yes, if you can enter it into your equipment. Not sure how the controller would see that. And I feel that if you try to put it into your GPS unit, and you try to put it like as a part of Victor 1, it will not find it. So it will
Yeah,
need
it
to be
will.
like kind of direct from this VOR.
It'll
I'm
throw an
sorry, say
error.
the
Yes.
fix again.
Sorry.
Say the fix again.
Bravo, Romeo, Oscar, Zulu, Echo.
Oh, echo. Okay.
Yeah, if I like enter it here, it will probably pick it. So it's here.
Yeah. I wanted to go from there direct to Kenya and then descend in the hold for the RNAV 20.
If you go direct from here, you don't even need to descend from the hold. Because if you are able to go from there, it means that you are GPS equipped, and it means that you can descend already en route, because you have this nice 30 nautical miles clearance, like obstacle clearance at 2,100. So you can
Okay, that
easily
wasn't in the. Okay.
so you can easily like fly here and just join this and continue descending. And you don't need to do the procedure turn, you know, when coming from the northeast.
I was referring to the RNAV runway 20 chart. It doesn't have these terminal arrival areas, I think.
Yeah, the Zulu doesn't have it.
And not the ILS, the RNAV GPS
RNAV.
runway.
Okay, let me quickly check. It doesn't have it, but at least there is this minimum safe altitude, you know, like this. So if you're like going direct, you know that you can descend to this altitude.
Okay, so that's a valid method.
Yeah, but I
Descend to
believe
3,100.
unless I'm mistaken, this is 25 miles from runway 20, from runway 20, from here, not from there. But you know, if you know from this approach that you know it's safe to descend to that altitude, by all means descend there.
Okay.
It's the same fix, so. And I wonder why it doesn't have the same kind of half circles. Because normally you find those only on RNF arrivals. It's the first time I saw something like that on the GPS.
Go back to the other one. It had a not half circle, but full circle.
Yeah, but that was standard MSA.
Yep, all the same.
But it's not from Kenir like the other one. It's from the threshold of runway 20. That's the difference.
True enough.
Yeah, this one is from Kenir. But yeah, you know that it's clear, and more like what's more important is that if the weather is clear enough, you can do visual approach as well. You don't need to fly these procedures.
Okay.
I will fly that procedure just for practice, but that's it. Normally, in real life, you would just be cleared for visual approach, and that's it. All right, so that's the en route portion, or like a route planning portion of this. We determine departure, the en route. That would be important if we had any controllers. So what normally happens is when you are flying en route, you already, of course, check the weather at your destination. You check what approach you would like to get. Sometimes the ATC will assign you the approach. You can always decline and request another, or they will just ask you what you would like. Most approach controllers, if the weather is good enough, will prefer the visual approaches. It allows to stack more aircraft into more aircraft one behind the other. Since we are coming into the untowered field, that means that there is this 1 in 1 out rule in effect. And that means that if any aircraft is cleared either in or out of the airfield, no other IFR clearance can be given to anybody else until that aircraft cancels or departs. For that purpose, it's a good practice, especially if multiple, people flying in, if you have visual of the runway, even though you are still descending on ILS, you know that weather will not be any issue. It's good practice to cancel the IFR already in the air, so another one can be cleared for any kind of approach. That's not going to be an issue. Last time when we were flying IFR into was 3 November 6, we communicated on radio. It was very nice, and we were able to really separate ourselves quite nicely. So I expect that we will do something similar today. So yeah, so you check the weather, you ask for the approach, controller will give you instructions. You can negotiate if you want, and you just follow those instructions and do proper calls. For the untowered field, at some point they will tell you that you can change to advisory, and then you need to report IFR cancellation either in the air or on the ground. Okay, and arrival, again, this is untowered, so the arrival will be standard traffic calls for us. As I said already in the beginning, if there is nobody else in the vicinity of the airport, nobody's doing circuits, feel free to finish, this landing straight in. Me personally, if there was anyone else doing circuits, first I would determine what runway they are using. They might be using a different one. And I would join the traffic pattern via some recommended way, if the weather allows, of course. I don't think that we will have anybody in the circuit. That would be a real coincidence on VATSIM. In real life, it's a different story.
What would you do if they weren't saying on the radio which runway they were headed to?
If they were not speaking on the radio, I would not probably know about them at all. But you mean that they would?
ATC might tell you when they hand you off.
Yeah, ATC might tell you if they see anybody in the vicinity of the airport. But if it's someone...
We don't have ATC today, though.
We don't have ATC yet. Not now. They can still come online. You never know.
So what if half of us are doing the straight-in landing and the rest of us will do the circuits? Is that gonna be a problem?
Well, we can still communicate, right? As I said, if anyone's doing, circuits, I would probably just discontinue the approach and join the circuit as well. Or there is always a possibility, we are speaking on the radio, so for someone on the downwind, let's say that somebody's flying downwind runway 20 and they're about there, at abeam the threshold, and the guy that's going straight in reports that they are at maybe 6 miles final and that they are Cessna 152. There's plenty of time, for this guy to actually land and exit the runway before that guy comes in. If you are there and they report, or that you can see them, that they are on 1 mile final, let's say, you just continue, and when you pass them here, you just like slot yourself behind them.
I'm guessing I'm gonna... Yeah, go ahead.
Is it okay just to enter the hold at Kinnear and slowly descend from there?
Hold at Kinnear, enter hold at Kinnear, and descend in the hold.
Yes,
That was
that's
the
correct.
question. Yes, that's perfectly possible.
That would be more appropriate if you're actually holding there, though, because you can't begin the approach.
What do you mean that you can begin the approach?
Well, the 1 in, 1 out rule or some such.
Oh, yeah. I'm
The
not
point
sure.
being,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure if you're holding here, that if you're like already cleared for the approach or not, but you might be just told to hold here at Kenir as published on the approach and not be cleared for the approach. Something like that.
yeah, I'm just thinking, it's 15 miles. That's going to take you like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't know what'll happen in those 10 minutes, so there's no reason to hold it Kinnear just because other people are in the pattern.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's not what I was saying. I was describing like the situation close to the airport. But if someone is holding here because maybe two aircraft arrive at a similar time, then it's good enough. It's better to let one start this approach and maybe wait maybe 4 minutes before you yourself start that approach. And again, it will depend on what kind of aircraft you're flying. If the guy before you is in Cessna 152 and you are in a King Air, that means that you should probably leave more time for them to go before going behind them. But I cannot really discuss all the possibilities that might arise, when we are there. So it will depend on common sense, I would say.
Yeah, we're about to get into 10. I think we're in the middle of 10 or 15 minutes of what if this situation happens? We're going over the very specific stuff.
I have a question about radio calls, actually. I'm okay with VFR calls, and I'm okay with IFR calls when ATC is online. But when ATC is not online, I'm a little unsure. I was wondering if you could just take a minute to quickly go over the procedures.
Yeah, when ATC is not online, you basically announce what you are doing. So as here maybe for the arrival, on the en route portion, you basically don't call anything. You call the departure, then you are departing maybe to the south, and you're just silent. And then when you are nearing the nearing the destination, you just make standard calls. For example, if we are like multiple of us flying, then you can say something like Pitt-Greenville traffic, November 123 Alpha Bravo, is a type Cessna 172, and then you continue with I'm just nearing Kenir on ILS runway 20 approach. I will be doing the hold there. Or when you are already in the hold and you want to start here, you just say, initiating the approach from Kenir. I'm 15 miles out, or something like this. There are no there is no standard phraseology for these situations, simply because they don't happen in real life. So those standards were not developed.
And for the SID, the Kisser 5 or whatever it was, you wouldn't make any radio calls about that, or you just say departing south, or?
I will just say departing straight out. Because
okay, that makes sense.
it's a runway heading, so straight out, and once you are at 2,000 feet, you are already out of the pattern. You just make a call that you are turning south, and that it's your final call or something like that.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to go to 4,000 feet before you turn on this one?
Not necessarily. No, you don't need to.
No, maximum altitude on the SID is 4,000 until ATC clears you higher. However, the turn is when ATC turns you.
Yeah, you must distinguish lateral and vertical instructions. They are two separate things. So if let's assume that there is an ATC, you depart, you are with the tower, they will hand you over to departure controller, and the departure controller might tell you, radar contact, turn heading 210, for example, and you just turn. But this like altitude restriction, 4,000 feet, still applies until they clear you higher. It might also happen that you take off, tower will hand you over at like 500 feet above ground, and the departure will immediately tell you, resume on, resume, no, not resume, it will be vectors because you should expect vectors. So turn heading 210, climb and maintain 6,000. They can tell it to you immediately. And in that case, this goes out of the window, this goes out of the window, and you do what they tell you. That is two separate things, lateral and vertical navigation. Okay. And final thing on that arrival, on those calls, when I'm flying this, I will usually say something like when I'm 10 miles out and maybe 5 miles out. So I will just call 10-mile final, 5-mile final. So especially if there is anyone in the pattern, so they can, judge if it's safe for them, to go before me, or if they need to, or if that's better, to extend a little bit. And of course,
I'm more likely to use 6 and 3 mile finals, which is 2,000 and 1,000 above the runway.
Yeah, that's also possible, of course. And also it is valid that if there is someone in the pattern and they are already on base, and let's say that you forgot to make your call, which you should not, so they even have no chance of knowing about you. But if they are lower already, they have a right of way, even if you are already established. So if they're lower, they can, go here, land, and you need to go missed. Or you don't, if you are at that point in visual conditions, you don't need to go missed as per the procedure. You can just go around and join the pattern and land.
One more very quick question.
Sure.
If you're coming in to land and there is someone taking off, you don't see there's no calls, and you see them taking off at the last minute and you're sort of almost above them, you don't want to go missed because they're climbing. So what do? You turn to the right?
You go missed, definitely. You go missed and you follow the standard go around procedure, and that is to sidestep to the dead side of the pattern.
Yeah, okay.
In order to see the runway out of your window and see that aircraft.
Cool, thanks.
So you fly, you start to take a go around procedure, and during that you sidestep your offset here to the right side of the runway in this case, so you have the sight of them all the time, and you can see them and you can avoid them. And that's valid for any kind of go around, and also one thing that we look for when you are doing your ratings, that you are correctly sidestepping or offsetting during the go around procedure.
But you need to know the traffic pattern, right?
Of course. That's something you should always, review, at least for the runway that you're going for.
Are you always sidestepping to the right?
Well,
or does it
if
depend on the pattern?
sidestepping to the right, and also the reason why the default traffic pattern is to the left one, is that the pilot usually sits on the left side, so they have better visibility out of the left window.
But what if the pattern is to the right side?
If the pattern is the right side, I'm not completely sure. I would probably sidestep to the right.
You sidestep to the left. That way, anybody who's in the pattern will be turning right. Anybody who's leaving the pattern will be going straight ahead or turning right until unless they're above the pattern altitude.
Yeah, I wanted to say left. I was saying right, just like it is on the picture. But of course, from the direction you're flying, you sidestep to the left. Always to the kind of non-alive side of the pattern.
So let's say you're established on the localizer at 1,600 feet and you got to go miss because there's somebody really slow in front of you. Do you just stay at 1,600 feet, go straight, turn around, and do the miss approach?
Really depends on the situation itself. If you are about to crash into them at 1,600 feet, then yes, you stay at that altitude or climb a little bit. But you can basically execute the miss approach procedure at any point. You don't start the turn until you are like until you are at the missed approach point, but you can discontinue the approach at any time. And if you see them, then it's and you are higher, you are above them, then it's your really and they are in front of you. It's really your job to maintain visual separation. And you do any kind of maneuver that will ensure that in a case of emergency. But if you can, just continue straight in, you know, and just maintain the altitude. And once you reach like the like airport environment proper, you either stay in the pattern, and that would of course mean descending to 1,000 feet as well, or you execute, you know, the IFR missed approach procedure. So you should turn right and continue to the NDB and hold there.
If you never did make it down to 1,000, I wouldn't enter the pattern.
Yeah, that's not entering the pattern, of course, at 1,600 feet. It's not a pattern.
Okay, roger that. Thank you.
That's why I said you should like descend there if you have you know, space to descend. But if you really need to stop descending in 1,600 because they're like just above you, or like, just in front of you, then you just, you know, again, offset yourself, do the missed approach procedure maybe, and try again. All right.
Thank you.
So
basically, basically, we're saying here's how you should do it. Unless for the safety of your aircraft, you need to do it another way.
That's a very good comment. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I hope that I will see everybody in the air. If someone is not flying, they are welcome to watch my stream of it. But I really encourage you to fly. It's going to be much more fun. And as always, feel free to have any questions during the flight itself. And safe flying. And see you at Pitt-Greenville.
Happy flying.
See ya.
All right, so let's get flying. Briefing's done, and it's time to go flying. Quickly recheck if we have any controllers online or not. And we don't. So we will treat this as an uncontrolled field. Alright, I will simulate a slant alpha aircraft here. That means I don't have any GPS, and I will turn off the like a map, so I'm not tempted to see that, and I will try to follow the route as I should. So let me start SPAD next, so my controls become alive. There's something wrong. Doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I guess that battery died off. Is it possible? Seems like I had my battery turned on for some reason. Okay, now that's better. Alright, so battery is on. let's do the rest. Mixtures. This one. Alternators and magnetos.
Clear.
Looks good. Try to start the engine. Yeah, there is something wrong with... No, it's better. Let's try again. Right, something's not right. Mixtures are full, this is full. Could it be that the engine has failed? Now that's better. And some problems with starting the engines. Now I can turn on these fuel pumps. I will put a little bit of climate control here and heating. The will be 2200. I am on Unicom, and let's configure ourselves for the flight. It's gonna be not default navigation, but timer. Resetting that. I don't want to use flight plan, so I'll just remove this one. Delete. Good. And instead of map, I'll be using this one. I will actually use the map just to get, oriented on the airport, because that's just easier. That's all I'm gonna use it for. And then I will turn it off. Altimeter was 3004. It's about there. Verify, yes. And I need to definitely tune in the Norfolk VOR, which is 116.9, and I already have it. Strange. And then the next VOR that I'm gonna be using is Tar River. I will configure it to nav2. To nav2, and Tar River is 117.8. Transfer. Okay, Tango Yankee India, that's correct. Of course, I don't have the signal. I have signal for here. So my first portion of the flight is on Victor 139, which is a 216 radial. So I will configure 216 here. Something I will intercept initially. Very well. Runway for takeoff is sorry, runway 14. What was I saying? And the magnetic heading of that is 139. 139. Very well. I can lean it for now. I didn't see anybody, or I didn't hear anybody. Maybe. Yeah, I need to reconnect VATSIM. I believe that. Have that now, it will work. And let's start taxiing. Norfolk International Traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo at Southeast General Aviation Ramp. Twin Cessna taxiing to runway 14 via Alpha Victor, or Alpha Charlie Victor. Norfolk traffic.
Norfolk traffic, 162 Juliet Golf is airborne off runway 14, 700 feet climbing to 6,000. Norfolk.
Yeah, of course, and select the altitude.
Norfolk traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray at Victor, departing runway 14, straight out departure, Norfolk.
Pacific International traffic, Cessna 692 Delta is at the south ramps by Victor, taxiing runway 14 via Victor, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, crossing runway 5. Norfolk traffic. Okay, I need to make my calls a little bit better. It's embarrassing. Seems like there's some bigger tin there.
Norfolk traffic, Skyhawk Charlie Golf Lima Whiskey X-ray, departing runway 14, straight out departure, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo is clear of runway 5, Norfolk. Yeah, I believe we have some international traffic there. I'll check.
Norfolk traffic, November 9 Bravo Charlie at the GA, taxiing to runway 14 via Alpha Charlie Victor, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima is lining up runway 14, waiting for departing traffic, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, upwind runway 14, 1000, climbing 4000, departing southeast, final call, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima, departing runway 14, straight out departure, Norfolk.
Okay, let's park here.
Norfolk traffic, Cessna 692 Delta, lining up runway 14 behind departing traffic, Norfolk.
So let's check magnetos.
Norfolk traffic, 91 Bravo Charlie, crossing runway 05, Norfolk.
It's also good. All the engine instruments look good.
Norfolk traffic, Cessna 692 Delta, departing runway 14, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Skyhawk Charlie Golf Lima Whiskey X-ray, passing 1,100, proceeding on course, final call, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, 91 Bravo Charlie is clear up runway 05, Norfolk.
Just want to check who's on the airport. Yeah, we have some aircraft.
Norfolk traffic, Skyhawk 6529 Lima is departing to the southeast, cleared the traffic pattern, last call, Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, lining up runway 14, waiting for departure, Norfolk. Okay, so that's gonna be strobe lights and landing lights. Well, not landing lights yet. So we'll depart, and at the safe altitude we will turn right to join the join the radio. All right. All the trims. Oh, I already have a bottle there. All right. Norfolk traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo departing runway 14 straight out departure. Norfolk. Okay, let's get rolling. A bit of correction into the wind.
Norfolk traffic, Cessna 692 Delta passing 1,500, leaving the path into southeast, final call, Norfolk.
And gear goes up.
Norfolk traffic, 901 Bravo Charlie, landing up runway 14, Norfolk.
And I said I will turn this off.
Norfolk traffic, 901 Bravo Charlie, taking off runway 14 for straight out departure. Norfolk.
Norfolk traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo departed runway 14 at 1,500 feet, turning south. Final call, Norfolk. Okay. Of course, we need to maintain visual separation. And now we can reduce power a little bit to save levels. Lean. Not that much. Fuel pumps can go off. Airport there. And landing lights can go. Okay, they were off. Good. A bit faster. I want to be going 120. And of course I need to look for traffic so I don't bump into anyone. I believe that airliner is taking off and I don't hear them on the
Norfolk
Unicom at all.
traffic, 901 Bravo Charlie, departed runway 14, now at 1,500 feet, turning south. Final call, Norfolk.
Okay, that's a possible conflict. I wonder why people join, like, connect to VATSIM and then don't talk at all. They're turning right. And we are coming up on the radio. Alright, that's 6,000. Let's use that extra 100 feet for acceleration. There we go.
Norfolk traffic, Cessna 414, November 3 Alpha Whiskey is departed runway 14, passing 1,800, turning south, final call, Norfolk.
Alright, let's establish ourselves here. Okay, so course should be to 16. Okay, let's lean. I was actually leaned just right. Right, bring up the en route chart. So course 216 is the Victor 135 radial out of the Norfolk VOR, and it's 31 miles to the intersection Suns. Sierra Uniform November Sierra. It's still 16 miles to go. We are actually flying above the Great Dismal Swamp. Or the thing on the right is the Great Dismal Swamp. Nice. I think I will need to apply some wind corrections to the right. And a little bit of right rudder trim to keep ourselves straight. But it's 119 miles all the way to Piers, flying straight here. And then we have some right turn to make once we pick up this Tar River VOR. I already set the course, so it's 114 should be at the bottom because we will be tracking 2. So 114 is about there, so it's 294 there. Okay, let's get back to the wind correction of 2 degrees as I anticipated. Maybe it will be 3 actually, or 4. I'll try 4 and I'll test that out. Very well. So altitude, it holds nice. I still need a little bit more right rudder trim to keep myself straight. And we're flying. We'll take 119 miles. Okay, that's too much right rudder. It's very sensitive. Both engines running smoothly, that's good to see. And I will actually start using my auxiliary tanks right now. So fuel pumps on. Switch one, switch the other. Fuel pumps off. Let me ask on Discord something. A question for anybody who's listening. Are you flying the IFR or have you switched to VFR?
IFR.
IFR.
IFR here.
IFR for now.
Okay, thank you. I should have probably asked if there is anybody flying VFR. Seems like everybody's flying IFR. Very good.
I'm flying IFR, but I'm flying 2,000 feet above everyone.
That's safe.
Yeah, this plane's a little too fast otherwise, I think.
What do you fly?
414.
414, But at 8,000 that would be even faster, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm flying up high just so I can maintain separation.
Ah, okay. That's reasonable.
Nobody else is flying above 6, though.
Yeah, I'm flying 6 because I'm flying Victor 139 and that the MEA is 6. I don't know why, maybe for operational purposes. Sorry, no, it will be for radio reception purposes. Because the MOCA, which is minimum obstacle altitude, is actually 2,100 on that route. But 6,000 is the minimum en route altitude, so you can ensure the radio reception of the navates.
I just remember last time, MSFS just wasn't rendering anyone. I just didn't see anyone visually, and so I wanted to be very separate.
Is it better now?
No, actually, I don't see anyone. Although there might be a light in front of me, I'm not sure.
And on the ground, have you seen anyone from us?
Yeah, but a lot of guys were in big generic airliners.
I think I saw one airliner on the ground and a couple Skyhawks and a couple of 310s.
There was one airliner actually. They were taking off after us.
Yeah, Walker or something.
Yeah, and unless I'm mistaken, I haven't heard a single thing from them.
Have you guys seen planes in the air?
Yes, I even saw that airliner in the air. He turned right afterwards, but for a while there we were on a collision course.
I'm not seeing anybody. Guess I'll check the spy and see where you all are hiding.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
I'm probably right to the back here.
No, you're to my right, actually.
Is that you, Klaus?
Yep.
Okay. Keep each other company then.
Yeah. Can't see you though.
I have to zoom in, but I have somebody 9 o'clock and low.
Yeah, that's 2 Juliet Golf.
Why are you flying at 5,000, by the way?
Is there anyone flying 5,000?
I do finally see someone my 3 o'clock. I see your red wing light. I don't see your strobe.
Yeah, it looks like 2 Juliet Golf is flying at 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's just next to Chris. On his left.
Yes, but we're westbound.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in the planning, didn't I?
We should have an even number, like 8,000 or 6,000. That's why I chose 8,000.
You know, under ATC control, you fly the altitude that you are assigned. They are at their liberty to assign you like 8,000 going west. But fired altitude should definitely be even.
It's gonna do 5,000 as well. I think I failed it, but then I remembered, wait a minute, going west. And that's best. So it's even.
West is best. It's like a helper
It has to do with deviation, I think.
Yeah, variation probably.
Are you picking up the Tar River
I can never remember
VOR
which.
yet?
I believe magnetic variation is the one that you correct your course, and deviation is the compass thing. And the last one speaking, what was it?
Are you picking up Tar River yet? I'm not picking them up.
Not yet. Oh, actually, I am.
117.8?
117.8, that's correct. And let me switch the DME to see. I'm at 50 miles, 53 miles. And I'm currently 45 miles from Norfolk. I'm a little bit ahead of you, I guess.
I think you must be a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah, I am.
I'm 34.8 miles from our start point.
From the Norfolk VOR?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, let's check the main. Still enough space for return fuel. It's nice to see that we are like split half and half. One half flying Victor 1 and the second half flying 139. And then there is this one pilot in the middle. I believe they are flying VFR actually, because they are actually maintaining correct VFR altitude and they are not flying on the airway. So that might be the reason. Alright, 53 miles. Let's verify or check the position. 53 miles should be somewhere in the middle of everything. So actually it's not 119. That would be very wrong of me.
Someone is already on the ground at Greenville. Maybe doing plane spotting.
Is there? Is it one of us?
I don't know. November 6529 Lima.
Gene Golson. Believe he's one of us.
That's a long story. Basically, I had to crash to a desktop.
Oh.
So I respawned on final.
You respawned on final, okay.
Just kind of wanted to get here and watch you guys land.
All right. So let's get back to it. Distance calculation. So it's actually only 76 miles. I miscalculated quite a bit.
Check the chart for the RNF GPS runway 20, and it has a hold in lieu of procedure turn. And,
which approach?
RNF runway 20.
RNF runway 20, yeah. Let me bring it up.
Initial approach fix Kenya, and if I'm arriving from this Barrosi point, it looks like I have to do the course reversal, even though the angle is fairly shallow for so you could probably omit it, but I guess there's nothing here saying that I that has no PT, so I guess I have to do it.
Yeah, there is no PT for arrivals at Kenya on Victor 290 because you mean southeast bound, yes. Because you know, for the full procedure, it doesn't expect that you would like fly direct to Kenya. However, if you are flying direct, then you were instructed by ATC, and they can clear you for a straight-in approach, so you don't need to do the procedure turn. If you want to practice, by all means do it. But if not, you can just assume that you have been cleared for a straight-in approach, if you are coming from the north, of course.
Yeah, I'm coming pretty much from the northeast, so I guess for practical purposes with no ATC, I could just go straight in.
Yeah, and even if there was ATC, and they would just tell you, you know, proceed direct Canary, cleared for straight-in RNF runway 20, then again, no procedure turn.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just do the turn anyway, just for practice.
Yeah, and straight-in approach here only means you don't need to do the procedure turn. It is no reference to the runway, you know, straight-in approach to the runway itself.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Right, 12 miles to go to Pierce, and then it's a little bit beyond that I would be joining Victor 290 northwest bound. Then it's about maybe 20 miles to Canira, where I would start my approach. Yeah, pristine
When will
weather.
you start descending out of 6,000?
Well, it really depends on what you made, like what calculations you made, what's your descent profile and so on. For example, me, I tried to descend at only at 500 feet per minute. So if I need to descend from 6,000 to 2,000, I know that it will take me 8 minutes. And based on my ground speed, I will just calculate the distance that I need to start descending. What aircraft are you flying?
414.
414, okay. I don't know the descent profile of that. but if I take my example, let's say that I'm doing 160 knots right now. I know that I will be descending 8 minutes, so I will just...
Greenville traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, 7 miles north of, northeast of Kenya, 4,000 feet for the RNAV runway 20, Greenville.
So I know that in 8 minutes at that speed I will go slightly above 21 nautical miles.
He's a light twin, basically.
Yeah, I'm also light twin, but he's a little bit faster, or can be faster if he wants to. So for me it will take 20 miles or so to descend to 2000. Alright, I'm turning. Of course I will...
What are you flying, Thomas?
I'm flying a Cessna 310.
Was it the Milvitz one?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that a few weeks ago. It's a nice plane.
Yeah. It's a perfect plane. I already have almost 200 hours in it.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I don't fly anything else nowadays, so that's easy to accumulate hours.
Yeah, I might get it out of the hangar one of these days, bring it along for one of these trips.
Mm. Alright, so let's switch the equipment a little bit. Now I want to have 117.8 in here. And the course, according to the map, should be reciprocal 2114. So 294. There we go. We're spot on. 30 miles from that. Kenya is 19 miles from that. So it's gonna be pretty soon that I will start my descent. Actually, I will descend in the hold. Let's practice that. We'll like stay at 6,000 until Kenya. But let's prepare the navigation radios. So the ILS approach is the 110.7. Let's just put it here, and here I will put it already to the active one. I will tune this for final approach course, which is 197. One 195, 67. So I have a reference there. Nice. So if this is ideal, I should be arriving at this radial.
Greenville traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, doing course reversal over Kenya 2100, Greenville.
When I have 19 miles
and
here.
At this point, I'm direct Kenya.
Okay.
As though I'd requested the ILS Yankee and ATC gave me direct Kenya.
Mm-hmm. It's good for you. I'm also direct Kenya, but on Victor 290.
I'm right behind Thomas.
Okay, so in ideal, if I tuned everything all right,
I'm much lower now.
I should get 19er here, and this should cross, like not the vertical path, but the lateral one. Well, me myself, I'm planning to start descending in the hold, so I will arrive at Kenya at 6,000 already. So I might need to do, one circle more to descend to appropriate altitude. I'll see.
It's possible I might cross under you then and go direct to final.
Because the minimum en route altitude on Victor 290 here is 5,000, so I'm just doing 6.
Yeah, but 30 miles to Kinnear, minimum safe altitude is 2,100.
Yeah, I remember that from the briefing, so that's why I'm below 5,000.
Yeah, I am not, because I want to ensure the reception, radio reception, because I would not be able to navigate.
Reasonable.
Yeah, of course the simulator would would forgive me. Let's say, I would still be able to pick it up also from the ground, most likely. But I want to simulate real life here.
Near Astoria, I've had people pick up the battleground VOR through those mountains.
Yeah. I was picking NDBs through Himalayas when I was flying there. Nice. So that's what I'm simulating, and so I need to descend in the pattern. Alright, so I will be descending in the pattern, and that means that I need to determine the altitude at which
Kinnear can be located with respect to the Tar River VOR.
Greenville traffic, Cessna 414, number 3 Alpha Whiskey, approximately 18 miles out. We'll be joining final ILS approach, runway 20 from Kinnear. Greenville traffic.
Yeah, I'm basically using both. I am on the radio, I'm waiting for 19 DME, and I of course also tuned in the localizer into my second VOR receiver, so that should kind of center at that point as well. Alright, what I wanted to do, I'm quite close now, so yeah, altitude. So I will have 10 miles to descend to 1,400. In 10 miles, if I'm doing, let's overstate it, so I'm doing 180, which I will not, then it's 3 miles per 1 minute, and that means that 3 minutes. So I have like 4 minutes of descending there, let's say 3. I can go a little bit faster. So my altitude should be maybe 3,000 or 3,500 at most over Kinnear inbound for me to start the approach and not doing another racetrack pattern. Okay, let's see.
Greenville traffic, Kodiak 36 X-ray, just passing Kinnear at 2,100, continuing on final for the airnav, runway 20, Greenville.
And there it is, centering 19, perfect. Pitt-Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo over Kinnear, entering the hold at 6,000 feet and will be descending in the hold. Greenville. Okay, so direct entry.
Greenville traffic, November 3 Alpha Whiskey, will be entering Kinnear at 2,100, approximately 8 miles about. Greenville.
So 197, and that goes into the box. Sending too fast, don't want to do that. Alright, so let's start the timer. It goes 1 minute, and I want to descend, of course. I want to switch to the main tanks. We'll keep those fuel pumps on already. I will know Kinnear because it will be 5.1 DME. So I should probably turn already. I'm too far. Let's do that. I need to turn faster. Okay, if I descend faster,
Greenville
I
traffic,
can make
number
it.
3 Alpha Whiskey, turning vectors to final from here. Final approach, runway 20, Greenville.
Yeah, I will continue the approach probably because I'm low enough. Unless they are turning inbound. I'll see. Okay, they're turning inbound, but we can follow them, I guess. Let's just slow up. Let's go slower.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, 4 miles final, runway 20, clean, Greenville.
Greenville traffic, November 3 Alpha Whiskey, is a Kodiak in sight. Good separation. Follow. Established on the localizer, Greenville.
Okay, let's continue the approach. Low enough. 3,500, it was my limit. Very well. Pitt-Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, Twin Cessna over Canary, starting the approach, so 15 miles, 15 miles final. I have 2 preceding aircraft in sight, Greenville. Okay, so I can descend to 1,400 now. Landing lights on. Fuel pumps are on. We are on the main tanks. Very well. We are flying slow enough. Yeah, it's basically visual from here on, so can add a little bit power. I don't need to descend that fast.
Greenville traffic, November 3 Alpha Whiskey, Twin Cessna, established on the glide slope, 6.9 miles out, Greenville.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, runway 20, cleared at Alpha 6, Greenville.
Okay, that was not good.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, taxi to FBO ramp via Alpha, cross runway 826, Greenville.
Okay, threshold is 1.3, so I need to subtract 1.3 from my callouts. Just one note to the distance calling on the final. Please remember that the threshold is at 1.3 DME on the localizer. So when the DME shows 4.3, you are at 3-mile final, and so on. Let's do first notch of flaps.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray at Alpha, crossing runway 0826, Greenville.
Pitt-Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, twin Cessna, 4-mile final, runway 20, Greenville. I know that I am a little high, but this aircraft is able to descend quite nice. So let's bring up the landing gear.
Greenville traffic, Kodak 36 X-ray, cleared, runway 0826, Greenville.
Greenville traffic, November 3 Alpha Whiskey is clear, runway 20, taxiing to parking, Greenville.
Let's slow up. Let's bring the flaps down. Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, twin Cessna, 1-mile final, doing a long landing on runway 20, Greenville.
Sneaky.
Always.
Greenville traffic, Skyhawk Charlie Golf Lane Whiskey X-ray, 15 mile final, ILS runway 20 Greenville.
Greenville traffic, Oscar Kilo Golf Charlie Romeo, runway 20 vacated at Alpha 4, Greenville. Okay, where are the other guys? I believe there they are. Let's taxi to them. Fuel pumps can go off. Landing lights as well, strobe lights as well. Oh, nice helicopter. Right, parking brake goes on. And here we are. Let's turn off the heating. And let's check where are the others. It's with a dot, Chris, but I think you figured.
Yeah, I got it the second time.
Yeah.
No, you could do that. It's a nice tip.
Greenville traffic, golf is 3 miles from Kinnear. At 2,100 feet, will be entering the RNAV 20 approach at Kinnear. Greenville.
Yeah, you can type either WX or METAR. WX is faster. Okay, so that was it. I will stop streaming right now. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, and if you want to join something like this, fly with us, visit VATSTAR.com. It's an official ATO on VATSIM, of VATSIM. And feel free to join us for some learning. Bye bye.